have the highway department and the other people.
I think part of the selling of the health plan has to do with the effect it will have on labor negotiations, because with the new health plan, then different things will happen in terms of labor negotiations.
Yeah, I think you're getting
and so that's why Mr. Richardson would be doing it, because it would affect what would be happening with the union in terms of other
to authorize the supervisor and labor negotiator to seek a memorandum of agreement to look into new health plans with the town's eligible employees. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's all we're talking
Right.
about.
That was all.
Yeah.
And Tom's point is, let the insurance agent, instead of paying somebody $150 an hour, look into seeking a memorandum of agreement to look into new health plans.
Could I make just a hypothetical here? So we go ahead and we do that. We get our memorandum of understanding, and it's presented to the union, and there's some problem. I mean, Tom assures us nobody would object. This would be a great idea. It's wonderful. And then there's an issue. It is not the job description or the expertise of the insurance agent to negotiate that issue.
Well, certainly the labor negotiator can't negotiate right then and there either.
Well, what I had said in my opening statement was that we get other people in here that could save us money, and we do have that line item with $2,500, and at the point that we do need a labor negotiator, then at that point we can bring them in. But in that time that we don't need them, we don't need to spend the money. Let's say we do run into a problem, then we say, hey, Joe Negotiator, come on in. We've reached an impasse. We might need to get an arbitrator in here, because I went through the arbitration twice.
And what's the harm of just sending the health insurance guy with Virginia at this point? If we need him later on, send him later on.
I don't know.
If the information is to define what the options are, and it's not part of the labor contract, if you're just giving information, then I don't see the labor negotiator having to be there. If you are asking them to commit or modify the contract or do other things on that, then you need to determine whether you need the labor negotiator there. But if it is just a presentation, like here's your open enrollment period, this is an option that could be available to you, we need to know, non-binding, what's going to happen, then I think you send the insurance
But
person.
it's not an open enrollment period now.
Or just an information period that this will be adopted. And I wasn't there at the meeting, I can't tell you, I don't know who this person is, but is it something that you're going to put, if you are going to modify the labor contract,
which is what it would be.
Yeah.
by doing this, then I think you need, the first step is, what is it going to be? And then the second step is, can we modify it? Now, the town board could do that on its own. Town board could do it with a labor negotiator. Town board could do a lot of different things. I think the real issue is, town board has to make a determination who is going to be, one, the contact person, the lead person on the labor negotiations. That would be my first step, is to say some town board member is going to be part of this. Now, do we need to discuss this now? Are we going to open up that piece of the contract now and change it? And then do we need the assistance of anyone? If, for instance, you have an agreement where both parties come together without, any objection and say, this is good, we'll do this now, then you get it done. If it is one of those things that you are starting to have a negotiated labor agreement, I think you need representation at that. Now, what representation you get, that person has to be able to go to the labor board, has to be able to go if there's an unfair practice claim and anything on that. So these are the types of things that you're looking at. I know I have not been involved in the labor. I don't do labor. I've got another person in my office that does labor, but that's a different issue. But from day one, it was the labor was going to be handled separately. Once we got a union contract, there was a line item set for that. You need to define what you're doing and whether you need that person here. That is a town consultant. You hire them, you employ them when you need to do that. So I think really the scope is you need to determine what you need it for. And to me, if it's a informational session where you're not changing anything, then I don't see you know.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's the issue.
It was a session, the idea was that this would be a change, talking to the union members with the idea of changing now their contract, changing the content of their contract because their health insurance is within the contract.
Yeah, I can't, not having been there, not being part of the contract, I can't tell you one way or the, I mean, all of these are fact-based issues. You know, it's if, you know.
Yeah, and I understand, you can't be there, but what we have is the resolution, motion, whatever, authorize the supervisor and the labor negotiator to seek a memorandum of agreement to look into new health plans for the town's eligible employees. End of story. And I have to agree, I'm agreeing with Tom. I don't think we need this guy at $150 an hour, plus 58 cents travel, plus tolls. I mean, he was here for 2 hours the other day and presented nothing. It was the insurance guy who discussed the health insurance option. There was no talk about anything else, not one other thing in the contract. And I mean, that's fine, but I really think, I don't understand the objection to having the insurance agent and saving the town money to just present this. And if it doesn't work out, send them.
Excuse me, Bill, could you define memorandum of agreement?
No, I can't, because I wasn't at the executive session and I wasn't privy to what was discussed. I think the issue is, let's state it again, is that there's a difference between having a presentation made that is non-binding, that you're not opening the negotiations, you're not doing anything else, you're saying, here is a possible option, and you let the person speak as to that. And then what comes out of that is this something that we want to entertain? Right? That then would start the question of, do we include it in the negotiations in the fall, when we open the contract? Do we include it now because there is a benefit to both parties, and we sign off on it, and there may be then a memorandum of understanding, i.e., we have a labor contract. It is a contract. Both sides have to agree. You can't unilaterally force this on somebody and say, here's your option, you know, you have no other options, or this is what we're going to do. What you can do then is to say, do we need somebody to look at this document to say, are we modifying the existing labor contract? Are we coming up with something else? That's when I think you get the consultant in to say, how do we put this into effect?
All right, we can go round and round with this among each other. I would like to ask if you could call Michael Richardson and ask him exactly what the intent is, and advise the town board.
The question I've got is it's a motion that the town board adopted. So I don't know if he's going to understand the intent of what the town board, I mean, we're the ones that clarify what that motion
intent was to,
Well,
Right.
to get the,
I thought the intent was to modify the union contract.
Okay.
No.
yes, because it was, according to Michael McGowan, the insurance broker, it was a win-win situation for both sides.
But it would save the town a lot
It
of
would
money.
save us, I think it was roughly $30,000. So it was to present it, and hopefully the union could go for it now. That was the
And
intent.
so the intent was to modify the union
I mean,
contract.
often the question is, you know, this can be the union rep and the town rep, whoever it is, could get together and